So I'm sure you've followed news of fertilizer challenges in parts of the country. And of course, some unscrupulous persons who have had to cause either smuggle subsidized fertilizer out of the country or redirect to other places. Well, there could be a solution actually on the way, as Ghana has been selected as the focal country for the implementation of a new dashboard called Visualizing Insights on Fertilizer for African Agriculture. Here to help us understand how this will help track fertilizer distribution and other matters is Raymond Avatim. He's country manager of the Development Gateway. Good to see you, Raymond. Raymond, before we can have this conversation, I think we should have a clear understanding of our situation with regards to fertilizer supply in this country.
Yes, just to take this year as a typical example, I think we are currently faced with fertilizer challenges.
Okay.
Farmers are unable to get fertilizer because there is limited supply in the country. And I think that is very critical if we want to increase productivity of our various food crops in the country. And so we need to respond to the needs of the farmers by making sure that fertilizer is available at the appropriate time for the farmers to use. Yeah.
All right, so this dashboard you're talking about, what is it all about?
So it is a dashboard that seeks to respond to policy decisions and also for stakeholders in the fertilizer industry to be able to plan to meet the needs of the farmers. So we have data available in 5 categories. We have fertilizer price, both open market price, international price, as well as subsidized prices. We also have fertilizer availability, basically made of imports. So looking at how many fertilizer over the years, for the past 10 years, we have data to show how much fertilizer comes into the country, which countries these fertilizers are coming from, and what type of fertilizer products that are made up, that come into the country. The other one also has to do with fertilizer use. How much of fertilizer is being used by farmers in this country, which is very, very important. We also have fertilizer plants directory within the dashboard that clearly gives you the distribution of fertilizer plants, both organic blending plants as well as manufacturing plants in the country, to help people who need, or businesses that need fertilizer and the type of fertilizers they need to be able to respond to the needs of the farmers. The last one has to do with, we have a section called the policy, and that basically deals with the subsidies. We've been tracking government contribution to fertilizer subsidy. So out of the fertilizer subsidy, how much is a farmer paying and how much is government paying? Okay. So that is how the fertilizer dashboard looks like. Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious to find out how farmers will be able to also come on board this dashboard and also make use of it, because we know that most farmers in this country are technologically bankrupt. How do you intend to bring them on board?
So currently what the dashboard seeks to target is the stakeholders within the fertilizer sector. When I say stakeholders, those the private sector who are involved in importing fertilizer or producing fertilizer in the country, government level, and then other institutions like civil society and research to be able to do what is needed for the fertilizer to reach out to the farmers. Okay. In fact, we also have the fertilizer associations. That's the umbrella body of farmer associations that are also part of this process, because once they take the decisions, they are able to relay this to their farmers. But currently, the farmer on the ground has currently not been targeted for this particular dashboard, because what we want to do is to make sure that those who are responsible for taking the decisions can use this dashboard to be able to respond to the needs of farmers.
Okay, and you talk about stakeholders. How much engagement have you had with stakeholders who would also ensure that, I mean, this thing works as far as farmers are concerned?
Yes, in fact, we have had broad stakeholder engagement. And when I say broad stakeholder engagement, even at the beginning of the project, stakeholders were involved. And I would want to say that this dashboard is being implemented in 3 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. Kenya, where we have launched, Nigeria, where we have launched, and we are currently working to launch that off Ghana now. And I would say that we worked with these stakeholders to identify the indicators that they need to help them take their decisions.
Okay.
And we also worked with them to co-create the platform. So in fact, we had about 25 fertilizer indicators. And during the co-creation workshop, we prioritized these indicators based on what data is available and who has this data to be able to develop this dashboard.
Okay.
Yes.
Share with me the success story or the response you've had in places where you've already implemented this.
Yes, I think that in places where we have already implemented this, both the decision makers, let me call them the government, as well as the policy makers, I would say parliaments have responded positively to it. And I want to tell you that even in Ghana, before this meeting, we've held high stakeholder meetings with Parliament, Select Committee on Agric. We've held with the Minister of Agric. We've held meetings with the head of results at the presidency. And they have made a lot of positive contributions that they think would help to respond to the needs in the fertilizer industry. Yes, so it's been very positive.
Has there been challenges so far?
In terms of implementation?
Implementation, yes.
I think what I would say is that we've had very positive engagements. And the comments that are coming are an opportunity to build on the dashboard. We've received so many suggestions as to how to make the dashboard very important. I would want to say that, for example, the head of results has indicated that she's not hoping to see this dashboard as a static dashboard. She wants to see how this dashboard can be used to respond to the needs of the changing circumstances, which I see as very positive.
Okay. Yes. But have you also had some engagement with the farmers themselves directly?
Yes. In fact, Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has played a very important role in the co-design and the feedback session for the development of this workshop. And I think that we have taken on board their comments. For example, I want to give a typical example of Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana's response. During the feedback workshop, what they indicated was that they wanted to see the contribution of government to the subsidy price.
Okay.
Initially, we just had that of the farmer contribution, but they wanted to see how much is government contributing into this particular. Of course, I know they want to use that as part of their policy engagement to see how they can respond to farmers' needs.
Okay.
Yes.
And I mean, how are you taking that?
Very positive. As I said, we work with the stakeholders to create. We don't create for the stakeholders. And so when that comes, it helps us and then it gives us that motivation that this dashboard is really going to be used for its intended purpose.
But did they indicate some of the challenges they could be facing with the system?
Yes, so those feedback came. For example, which we are working on post-launch, one of the issues is that we have a lot of graphs that indicate trends.
Okay.
And they would want to understand the explanation behind these trends.
Okay.
For example, currently, if you look at, we have a section in the dashboard that shows international price versus open market price, that is retail price in Ghana. Okay. And you will notice that always the international price is lower than the open market price. And that is because of the cost buildup. When it comes, it has to be transported. There are certain related costs that will make it rise.
Okay.
But since the first quarter of 2021, fertilizer, the international price has been rising consistently. And as I tell you in the dashboard, I'm not sure we had opportunity of showing it to viewers, but you can clearly see that the international price is rising above the open market price. And that is one of the signals that show that there is shortage of fertilizer in the country. I want to say that if you look at the import section, most of the fertilizers that are imported into the country come in within the first half of the year. Okay. And so if the prices started increasing in the first quarter of 2021, then that was a big challenge because, and I want to say that, in fact, Ghana are price takers. It means that there is a huge demand for fertilizer out there, which is increasing the price. And once we have price takers, our companies and governments would not be able to immediately respond to the needs of farmers by importing more fertilizers. So the current fertilizer that was even distributed in the country was existing stocks that they carried over from last year. And so that is one of the challenges that affected fertilizer availability in the country for this year.
Do you have a target? I mean, quarterly, mid-year, or annual target?
I wouldn't say we have targets per se, but then the dashboard is updated monthly.
Okay.
So, for example, retail price, we update it monthly. We have also worked with GRA, Ghana Revenue Authority, the Customs Division, and once they get fertilizer imports, they give us the information and we update in the dashboard. So that is how we work to make sure that the dashboard continues.
Okay, so when I talk about target, I'm talking about what you intend to achieve with this whole implementing this kind of dashboard you're talking about.
Yes, so what we intend to achieve, one, is that the dashboard, government and stakeholders should be able to use the dashboard to plan and take decisions that can respond to farmers' needs. So basically, that is what we are targeting, that there should be increased use of fertilizer in the country at the right time. And of course, the use of appropriate fertilizers as such.
I'm grateful for your time this
You're
afternoon. Raymond Avatim, he is with the Development Gateway. He's been explaining to us the dashboard that will help achieve enough fertilizer supply for farmers across the country.